Hey, seventh graders, I wanted to welcome you back. It is April 20th. We had a nice long Easter break, and I just wanted to get us back in the swing of things. Make sure you're watching this video before you move on to the new section. As I mentioned in the new section, we're going to have a couple more lessons in this chapter, and then we're moving on to do like a little assessment, and we're going to move on to another topic. So a couple things that I noticed with your homework when I graded it. Some of you guys have a little bit of confusion between a prism and a pyramid. A prism has two bases, and it looks kind of like, I don't know, like a stick of butter maybe is a good way to think of it. Whereas a pyramid looks more like a point. So that's the first thing I noticed with a lot of the homework. People were confusing prisms and pyramids. Okay. Some of you put down a certain shape as the base for your answer for the base, but then named it something totally different. When you're naming a polyhedron, you first start off with the base. So if it's a square base, the answer has to be square pyramid or square prism. It can't then turn into a rectangular prism. So just be careful with that, okay? Also, when you're naming polyhedrons, it's two words. It's, like I said, rectangular base, hexagonal base, hexagonal prism, hexagonal pyramid, octagonal base, octagonal prism. There's two words for a polyhedron. All the other stuff, the stuff that's not polyhedrons, those are one words. Cylinder, cone. Okay, so just make sure you're keeping that straight. So a few specific ones I wanted to go over. This one right here, number 8. It's really hard to tell. So I didn't really quote mark anything wrong, but this base is right here. The other base is up here. So it has two bases, so we know it's a prism. Okay. A lot of you guys put square for here. It's actually a rectangle. So I didn't necessarily mark off because you put square here. The only reason I would mark off is if you put a square for the base but then called it a rectangular prism, it's wrong. So this is technically a rectangular prism, okay? So just be careful on that one. All right. The next one that people really struggled with was number 13. So number 13, it says here, you have two parallel congruent square bases. Okay, so they're telling you the base is a square. And then you have 4 polygonal faces. So the fact that we're talking about polygons, a square is a polygon, and they're saying polygonal faces, is the fact that it's definitely a polyhedron. So it's going to be a square prism. Now, to make it even better, because we're talking about congruent bases, okay, you can even call it a cube. All right, it's technically it might be a cube. So I took both answers. So as long as you said square, prism, or cube, I took both answers. Okay. The other one that people struggled with a little bit was on the next page, page 19, and it was talking about the Egyptian ruins over here of what were formerly tombs. We know that those were pyramids because we've been calling them pyramids forever. So a lot of you guys wrote down pyramid for the answer, okay? And that's correct. But a lot of you weren't saying what kind of pyramid they were. So you have to use your imagination a little bit. Depending on if all 4 sides of the base were equal or if they were not equal, it could either be a square pyramid or a rectangular pyramid. So you need to have the 2 names when we're talking about pyramids, okay? So that's it in a nutshell. Overall, you guys did really well. Just make sure you're naming things correctly. because as you'll see in the next lesson, it's going to make a difference with formulas. You have to know what shape you're looking at in order to use the correct formulas for the next 2 lessons. Okay? All right. I will see you at my next video. Take care.